What exactly does that mean? When will this arrive? As predicted, people are fighting this in Paris and many other countries. People begin to rise up next. When will Americans step up to the plate? Bill Gates recently claimed that a civil war will soon break out. Does he know something that we don't know? Likely so. Today's topics and predictions will include the new Earth, Iran and Russia, the November votes, mass protest politics, the coming intense eclipse energy, new discoveries, and so much more. Thank you all so much for joining me. Satnam, welcome to this 37th episode of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time Predictions Updates. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, followed by the bell and all if you want to hopefully ensure that you get notifications. Also, don't forget to double check your subscriptions because you know I'm here each and every Tuesday. So if I don't happen to be here, that's probably because your notifications were turned off or you were mysteriously unsubscribed from my channel and likely others as well. I wore my Friday the 13th Halloween hat for you all today. So a new Earth is upon us. But what exactly will it take for us to get to this new Earth that has been prophesied in so many prophecies going back hundreds and even thousands of years ago? What will the Earth and humanity endure prior to moving into this new Earth cycle and the new Earth nation? Many prophecies talk about the Great Famine and even a Great War, along with many other things that align with one another that will all occur prior to the rise up of the Antichrist in the Christian prophecies. To some, it may appear that we are already in the apocalyptic times as prophesied in the book of Revelation. But in reality, we have not quite reached that point, and thankfully so. At the same time, it definitely appears that we are stepping on the edge of a cliff that we may very well leap off of and into these prophesied apocalyptic times very soon. Many years, approximately 14 to 15 years ago, when I started putting out my annual world predictions on New Year's Day, Spirit directed me to put out information that I've known since childhood would occur sometime in my lifetime. That message from Spirit and my spirit guides was that humanity would eventually be forced into coming together in pure love to rebuild the earth in a more natural manner, going back to the old spiritual ways and the ways of the ancient indigenous natives, while incorporating modern day technology and an advanced society. Spirit also said to me way back that eventually humanity would be forced to eat all natural plant-based foods. Taking all these words that Spirit gave me into our minds and everything that Spirit has said going back to these prophecies, taking it all and absorbing it and putting them out again 15 years ago, we can now actually very clearly see that this is now a very highly potential possibility that lies within that prophecy from my guides and something I knew and felt ever since I was in my childhood. Rebuild the earth, says Spirit. What exactly could this mean? We can look at this at two different angles. The first angle being that some type of destruction would destroy a majority of our earth. In turn, a small percentage of survivors would therefore have to rebuild it, right? Well, that could make the most sense. And of course, humanity would therefore be forced to come together in pure love, simply to survive, let alone rebuild our planet. So how exactly would the destruction being brought upon humanity occur? War, famine, disease, or all of the above? The reality of this great awakening event and the shift into the new Earth nation is going to occur the exact same way that has occurred on Mother Earth and will continue to occur and experience approximately every 3,200 years. Some say it's every 10,000 years, but what if it's both? Regardless of the timestamp, there is absolutely no doubt that the changing of not just the Earth's climate, but also the climates of all planets in our solar system, which are experiencing a rare shifting of their climates. So it's not just us. This all aligns perfectly with the Hopi and the Lakota people prophecies, the sleeping prophet Edgar Cayce, Nostradamus, and even myself, that the shifting of the Earth's poles would occur and is now actually occurring and began to do so back in 2011. A slight shift in the poles is most definitely an event that brought upon the great flood spoken about in the Bible. Every ancient culture speaks of a past event where there was a major flood or several past events that brought great floods to our planet. Some of these legends and stories go back over 10,000 years ago, while others go back a few thousand years ago, maybe about just over 3,000 years ago, to the time when we entered into our current cycle on Mother Earth, the Pisces age that we're stepping out of and now in the Aquarian age. The energy of our Mother Earth is literally all the planets in our solar system would have, of course, a huge effect on humanity's energy as well, our emotions and our physical bodies. Not to mention that the sun flare activity that I've talked about quite often is also known to shift the energy and consciousness of humanity and animals as well. We have seen it more and more and see more and more of this coming and going over the past few years, if you think about it, especially since we hit 2020. If Mother Earth is shifting, then of course humanity would be forced to shift with her for the survival of our species. We will survive, as we humans are resilient and often ruthless. But again, in order to do so, we must come together with open hearts and pure love. Our survival depends on it. You may be asking how and why exactly the Earth is going through this cycle and the poles slowly shifting. The answer to this question also lies in so many of the ancient prophecies, the megalithic stones and the messages carved into stone and left behind for humanity by our ancient ancestors. One potential possibility, and likely the case, is that something huge is throwing off not just the Earth's magnetic field, but also that of the entire solar system. What exactly could this be that's throwing our planet out of the magnetic pools and screwing everything up? Some believe that it is related to the coming comet Apophis that comes in 2029, along with the belief that that comet is followed by a large planet slowly approaching our sun. Yes, this is spoken about in many ancient prophecies as well. That information in detail, I'll have to save for another video that I have actually been working on, but lots of stuff to put in with that. Speaking of earth-changing events, hold on tight, my beautiful friends, for a huge shift is coming in our entire system, more so the political systems. This, along with people rising up in protest as predicted in the past, already beginning to happen in France and Iran, like I spoke about in the beginning, and other countries. Soon, this will bring upon another huge awakening of humanity's consciousness. And we will rise up against, people are going to rise up without a doubt, against governments, as I predicted also years back. Take this all as a good thing more than anything. Don't let it go take you into fear, but take this as a good thing, for it's time for the awakened ones to fight for the true freedom that we've yet to begin to experience, because we don't know, because we haven't experienced it yet. It is time for people to come together now more than ever before. Therefore, it is a time for us to usher in the new Earth nation. Again, I welcome you back to my channel. Welcome you to my channel if you happen to be new here. I don't see any chats going up, so hopefully my chat's working. I don't see it going up anywhere. Somebody chat, say something. I don't see anything. Well, welcome to my channel. Again, if you're there we go. Thank you. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button followed by the bell and all, so that you get notifications of of new videos and when I go live. And I do go live every Tuesday at approximately 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Joseph Tittel, if you haven't gathered, aka Spiritman JT, and I'm here to bring you that love, light, truth, predictions, and prophecy that you all yearn to hear. And I yearn to put out to you and work very hard to put out to you. Down below, I thank all of my supporters from the love and support that you bring to me and the ways that you do so, for just being a part of the tribe and hitting subscribe or joining the community below, or better yet, become a member of the Awaken Your Spirit community on Subscribestar. All the links to that and social media are listed down below. Also, down below, you'll find a link to the newsletter, one of the most recent newsletters. You're going to want to open that up and subscribe to that newsletter so that you know where I'm at, what I'm doing, and where I go if I happen to go anywhere. That way you know. When you subscribe, make sure you confirm your subscription with the email that's sent to you after you subscribe to that newsletter. Other than that, let us begin with this episode number 37 of Tittle Tea Time. Yes, and I do have some pomegranate, blueberry Asia tea. It's quite delicious, I must say. So, by the way, a recent rare, unheard of dust storm hit Mars. And this proves that something is shifting and that it's not just Mother Earth. So take all those things into consideration, my friends. All of it. What link is broken? Somebody said a link is broken. What link would be broken? Let's go look. I can't find my chat. It like disappeared off my screen. So I can only see, oh, there it is. It's hiding back there. I don't know what, oh yeah, the website's down, by the way. I don't know why. It's been down all day. I can't receive any emails. I can't send any emails. And probably it's a bug with the company, which eventually in the new year, I plan on leaving and launching a whole new website and a new domain as well. So let's talk about the current rise up of people, excuse me, that's happening in France right now. The cost of living protests, as they are calling them. The cost of living protests. As you likely know by now, that there is a great labor protest erupting in Paris over gas and food prices and shortages as well. If you recall in my past predictions, I talked about mass strikes that would come and taking place. We can now actually see very easily and clearly that this prediction may very soon come into reality. Somehow, Spirit says this will bring about many large power outages, especially in late winter 2023. I don't know how or why, but that's just what Spirit told me today. Again, if you missed that, Spirit said that this somehow will bring about large power outages, especially late winter 2023. So we'll have to see how that pans out. They'll probably blame protesters for taking out a grid or something like that. I saw visions of people gathering in protest, heading towards Washington, D.C., a place that we need to head to. I can only imagine what it would be that would actually bring this about. This could be aligned with a push to impeach Biden, perhaps, which I do not see happening, unfortunately. Spirit did say to me also today, Biden is about to make the worst decisions since his regime took over Washington. Spirit was not clear what these decisions entail, but part of me feels that they are about to pose an attack of some sort on someone or something or somewhere most likely. Spirit also warned me today to warn y'all, watch closely, for many flags will fly falsely with intentions to trick or treat upon Americans in the world. And if you don't know, just take the last in this sentence, take the first word and the last word and swap them around. Flags that fly ever so falsely. So again, take that first word, second word, and then you can figure out what I'm talking about. It's pretty simple to figure out. But again, watch closely, for many flags will fly falsely with intentions to trick or treat upon Americans in the world. And I love when my guides have that sense of humor, trick or treat. That's why I wore my Jason hat today. Great movies. I also see a large crowd or large crowds gathering throughout the United Kingdom and outside the palace gates in England. Controversy is going to erupt within the castle walls, which I talked about before in the past. The new king will quickly become disliked by his people. Protests in Ireland, Holland, uh, erupting soon as well, and another rising up of the people of China as well, which is already happening. I don't know if you're familiar with one individual did a private, personal protest. I think they call it a personal protest, which is making all these other people have personal protests in China. First time I ever heard about that was today. He hung up some sign about Xi Jinping being communist or dictator. That's what he did. So, they'll probably kill him. He's probably dead already, sadly. And speaking of sadly, my spirit guides remind me of how the Dark Army began building a police state. Remember that? That whole controversy over building a police state here in the United States and globally. A police state of controlling it. It's a control system. Way back during the Obama reign, if you remember. As I've been telling you, they have been planning this for a very long time. Spirit's reminder of the police prison state of our world will eventually be unleashed onto the people, sadly. And we see this in Iran. We see a version of this occurring as the protests have become violent and bloody, sadly. This is the dark evil leaders, of course, fighting to keep their power while suppressing people's rights to voice their opinions and fight for positive change. So as we know and been saying for years, there's a huge fight, a war between darkness and light. And it's all coming out. Things I said 10 years ago about truth and people coming to knowing that there is this dark evil cult that runs everything. They didn't 10 years ago, but look how many people do now and all the truth that started to come out as soon as we hit that 2020 clear vision. 2020 was all about vision and clarity. So, unfortunately, I do see mass arrest as well of innocent people that are fighting for what they believe in and believe is the right thing to do. I don't know where, but of course, Iran, that's happening already, but other places as well, probably including Canada and the United States, but soon the UK. It might be happening in UK right now. Speaking of crazy places, let's talk about Iran for a minute. Iran is also experiencing a rise up of people against the current regime leadership. A fall of power is coming, not just for Iran, but globally. We've seen this in the UK, and we've seen this with the Queen's death. Remember what my guide said, London bridges falling down, remember that? When the Queen dies in 2022, it will bring about chaos and a fight for the darkness to hold on to their power and control. And we see that. I said that years ago when the Queen dies, and we see that they're starting to fight to keep their power and control, but the fight hasn't even really broke out really bad yet. This is inevitable, not just for Iran, but other countries, including the United States and even Russia. Soon, what is happening in Iran will spread, sadly, to surrounding countries. Speaking of surrounding countries, I see major issues arising for Israel. And I believe this will involve Iran in due time. An exchange of fire is coming, according to my spirit guides. Back to Iran again. Iran has been supplying Russia with drones and surface-to-surface missiles, as you probably heard. And we don't know if that's real news or not, but we can assume that it is. As you likely know and can imagine, this cannot end well for anybody. I see several explosions within the walls of Iran. The walls meaning, within their territory. I don't know if they have walls there like they do in Israel. In past predictions, we talked about sabotaged events, if you remember, and flags flying ever so falsely. Spirit says to watch Iran in the Middle East very closely. Something huge is about to blow. Spirit said many fires will burn. Many fires will burn. I'm not sure how this may or may not include I'm not sure how, but this may or may not, but likely may include Saudi Arabia. But they happened to pop in my mind as I was writing these visions from Spirit today, all day today. I spent lots of time on today's episode, but that's good because you're all worth it to me. Economy. Let's talk about economy. A lot of you want to know about that, right? If you recall in the past, I predicted that both airlines, airlines and car companies, and even banks would face major issues. And I said this like over a year ago. With airlines and car manufacturers, it will be great financial issues, according to Spirit. We say to them, welcome to our world. That's what we say to them. Welcome to our world. Welcome to our realities while you are in your struggle of bankruptcy, you rich CEOs. We get to yell out to them, welcome to our reality. I mentioned huge bailout potentials, and I mentioned that recently as well. Except this time, I do not think Americans are going to put up with it. I don't really think Americans are going to deal with another massive bailout. It's not going to happen. If you didn't know, GM is already discussing bankruptcy. And that filing, because it will be filed according to the Spirit, will trigger a domino effect on big manufacturers, not just car manufacturers. Spirit says that China plans to corner and take over the car industry. But this will not come into fruition the way they plan, which is good to know. We always have Tesla, that's American fighting or whatever. It's not Chinese, but they get a lot of their stuff from China. With banks, it's a little different, but also all the same. Small banks are already struggling to keep up with their evil competitors. Small banks are already and will continue to go belly up, with most of them being taken over by the world banking system and companies like Chase, which is a part of the world banking system of evil, that web of darkness. November is going to prove to be the most unstable economic and stock drops of 2022. I put 2023, but I meant 2022. Be aware, so that might happen next year too, being as I said 2023, but I'm still thinking this coming November. Be aware of that, first of all. But November is an 8-month, which is a vibration of money and finances. So Spirit said to watch closely the amounts of money wasted by our leaders in countries come the month of November. So that's probably when these bailout things could come up. But Spirit said again to watch closely at the amounts of money that will be wasted in the month of November by our leaders in countries. More on this when I do my November predictions on Tuesday, November 1st. So you don't want to miss that episode. Usually I'll sometimes do it at the end of the month, the coming month predictions, but this year, November 1st falls on a Tuesday. Power energy is up 10 times in Europe, and that is about to change by skyrocketing even higher, according to Spirit. Here in the United States, I noticed my bill is up almost 25% from last year. And I expect that, along with heating costs of both electric, oil, and propane, to reach over a 50% increase here in the United States and Canada. Spirit just said Canada will be worse than the United States. So Canada, my friends in Canada, Spirit just said it's going to be worse for Canada than the United States, but over a 50% increase here. So I would expect Canada and Canadians to be paying double. And that's of now, what's going on now. So overall, I mean, if it's a 50% increase, I'm already at almost 25%. That would be a 75% increase if Spirit's putting them together, which I believe Spirit might be doing. So I urge you all to think ahead and stock up on whatever food, warm clothes, and heating options that you possibly can. This is very, very important, especially our friends over there in Europe. And hopefully, a lot of you that have been following long enough, listen to my advice when I talked about this in, February, March of 2020, about stocking up and outages and cold and all that. It's all coming into fruition. And I believe it's all coming into fruition this winter and maybe even worse next winter. But it's going to be interesting. All the more reason that I also will be doing a 2023 predictions preview. I wanted to have it done by now, but I didn't. But I'll be working on that over the next couple days. Excuse me. Europe is in for a very cold, very snowy, and very icy winter. Worse than the United States, according to Spirit, and worse than Canada. Although the states, along with Canada, is going, of course, to have its fair share of wintry weather. According to Spirit, Europe, Russia, and even India will suffer the most this coming winter season. This will bring light to Biden and him saying years ago, if you remember, a long, dark winter is coming. Remember that? Remember that? We all thought it was last winter. Still coming. Still coming. So when the temperatures hit the coldest temperatures, that's when power facilities will ever and longer than ever. I also see a sabotage of the power infrastructures as well. I'm not sure which ones, but somewhere in Europe, I would imagine. One will be a victim of a great hack of their system, taking it off the grid for weeks. Now, that makes me think of a past prediction I had. Remember, Spirit said they would say it was a hack, but it wasn't hackable. But they're going to make you believe it's hackable, and it's an inside payoff job. I don't know if they're related, but that just popped up in my mind, that past prediction. So they probably are somehow related. Anyway, PayPal. You heard about those idiots, right? Did you know about, because we're talking about economy right now, and if you just joined us, welcome, welcome. I already have my notes, so I'm not going to, I go with my notes, whatever is there. So requests there I can't talk about because I can't really watch there and hear at the same time. PayPal. I'm sure you know about this by now. In their recent policy agreement clause that you will be fined $2,500 if you happen to put out any information they don't like. They say misleading information and false information, but you know what it is. It's information they don't want you to put out there. Why should that have anything to do with PayPal? Like, if you use PayPal, it's none of their damn business what you put out there. As far as I'm concerned, it's none of their business. And PayPal, I've been about sick of PayPal for a while now. So I'm looking into new options. I've been with PayPal for over at least 15 years, maybe 20 years. But it's time. It's time to move. Because I'll tell you right now, my friends, them putting that out there and saying, oh, it was a mistake, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't a mistake. The mistake was that they lost $10 billion the day they put that policy out, then pulled it. It said, oh, it was a mistake to try to cover up their $10 billion loss in one day. One day. Good. And PayPal, Musk is one of the founders. And, one of the other founders of PayPal is the one that initiated the whole stratospheric, whatever they call it in the CIA, but we call it chemtrails. And pays for it, and that's where a lot of the money comes from. So, in case you didn't know that, but this should tell you a lot of what they're planning with the banking system, my friends. They slipped, and people caught that because they put out these agreements and think people don't read them. When you agree to the updates on your Apple and on Google, did you know one of the things it says on there is that you give us permission and our affiliates, whoever they may be, permission to record your conversations and utilize them for marketing and other purposes. Marketing and other purposes. What's your other purpose? And who the heck are your affiliates? See, you got to turn those microphones off. Like Edward Snowden said, you got to disconnect the damn thing completely because even if you turn it off, they get in. It's just the weirdest thing. Like when my sister was here, there was we talked about something, and I ended up getting it on my email or on my computer because all my stuff shut off. So I don't know, like I have a VPN and everything, but through her phone, they know we're connected and freaking sent me something through a conversation we were having. Folks, that's damn creepy. It's so creepy to me. Walmart, speaking of creepy, Lucifer's Hub, as you know, I've been calling that for 10 years, Lucifer's Hub. Many years back, I talked about Walmart not being able to hold the power that they did and do. Remember, Walmart actually helped to wipe out all the small businesses, and there's karma that they need to pay for that. They wiped out a lot. Walmart will soon endure a huge economic hit as people begin to steer away from Walmart. More online shopping and people beginning to depend more on locally grown and produced foods. After Walmart and many other retailers, such as Target, experience a huge loss this holiday season, they will be forced to cut the workforce and close a record amount of stores in 2023. This will also hit Home Depot, while others like Costco will actually see a rise in sales. So that'll be interesting. Did you know Walmart is currently the largest employer in the United States, but soon they will lose that title, according to Spirit. Likely, I would think, to Amazon. In time, a new, more positive and healthy alternative will begin to pop up and eventually take place. That's always something good to look forward to. A warning from Spirit is to have cash on hand. Have cash on hand is what Spirit told me, especially again, y'all in Europe, because that's another thing. I said, and I think it's even in one of the prophecies that Europe will fall first, and then everybody else will follow. When Europe collapses, United States, it's going to be a domino effect. United States will follow. So at least in the United States, we have a little bit of a warning. I guess Canada too, a little bit of warning to watch Europe, because when it falls there, we know we better batten down the hatches, go into our little hideouts. I'm liking that blueberry pomegranate tea. Shortages in food. Let's talk about that for a minute. Because this winter, people are going to have to choose between eating or heating. Truly. So what are you going to choose this year? Hopefully you don't have to make a choice between eating and heating, but a lot of people are. And this, unfortunately, is going to bring more clarity on my past predictions of people freezing to death, if you remember. I said that over a year ago. A mass starvation event occurring. This makes sense that these things are coming into light now. Hopefully they don't come fully into light, but it just kind of makes sense to what's happening in the world, including, if you like your holiday cookies. I told you the holidays would not be good this year. They were going to try to destroy the holidays and, of course, destroy Jesus and take Jesus and the whole true celebration of Christmas away. They've been trying to do that for years. We just can't allow them to do that. But if you like cooking holiday things and cookies and baking and things like I do, you better stock up on butter. It's interesting because I started stocking up on butter a while ago. I even got dehydrated butter and milk and eggs and all those things that are, powdered version, just in case. I highly recommend that you do the same. But if you want butter and such, you better start stocking up because there's already occurring butter shortages. I had a link here, but now I forgot I took it out. Darn. But anyway, you can look it up yourself. There is a current butter shortage beginning to occur. They're warning people now about butter. So, and yes, you can freeze butter too, by the way. I like the powdered butter. I mean, I haven't used it yet, but it's supposed to be really good for baking, and I don't want to use it. I don't want to use it unless I have to. But apparently people from the reviews I read really say it's great for baking. And it's butter. It's just dehydrated butter. So speaking of the coming new Earth, today I truly would hope that all this info that I provide will actually enlighten you to become more connected to community. Get involved, plan community gardens, and next season, and really help to bring people together. Again, our survival will eventually depend on it. Let's move on to politics. It's subject many people tell you not to talk about, but we are, because Tulsi Gabbard left the demo party. Did you hear about that? So this is I only bring this up because it always leads to predictions, as you know. Remember my past prediction that in the future a new political party would take form? I only just said that a few weeks ago. This could be a sign that this is the beginning stages of this new party that are developing, and here's why. Once people realize that the right wing and the left wing belong to the same darn bird, we can only then begin to build a party that is a new bird, and a new bird takes flight that is not built on corruption and enslavement. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. Speaking of interesting, that Bill Gates dude, the devil himself, recently claimed that civil war will soon break out. Does he know something that we don't? Thank you, Katrina, for your lovely support. So Mr. Gates says again that civil war will soon break out. Does he know something that we don't know? Well, likely so. Remember the Illuminati cards? Actually, I have them here. I haven't gone through them yet, but some wonderful person sent me this whole box of the 1995 edition, I believe. That's what she said. I don't have it all here in front of me. I have the cards, but yeah, 1995 March edition of the Illuminati cards, which I can't wait to spend time going through them and actually doing a whole video on them, because you're going to want to, that's a video you're going to want to watch, the whole history of it and everything. I'll probably work on that one after my 2023 preview. Thank you, Plandemic 20, for your love and support. Your color matches my color. How about that? So remember, yeah, the Illuminati cards I showed you, and in the future, it will show you, I'll show you that video, but there are cards for civil war, and there's card that represents martial law. If you're not aware of those Illuminati cards, you might want to look them up, but I tell you and warn you ahead of time, that's going down a rabbit hole, a very deep rabbit hole. That's kind of creepy, and you can just hang on and wait until I present you with that rabbit hole video. Anyway, if you recall, going back many years ago, Spirit showed me a plan to divide the United States, a plan of the darkness to divide the United States and combine it eventually with Canada and eventually Mexico. I feel their plans are actually failing, thank the Lord for that, and Mother Earth will eventually intervene. And that's where the pole shift and all that comes into play. Mother Earth, and I said that a long time ago as well, that, you know, eventually it isn't going to matter because Mother Earth's going to step in and she's going to do the cleaning up of the crap. That's where we know the Earth, the great cleansing that the natives talk about, the Great Awakening, but also the Great Cleansing. So I can tell you that the future new Earth does not at all look like it does currently. New maps will have to be drawn up. And as far as land masses, yes, the United States will be broken into separate land masses, but not because of political moves, but because Mother Earth breaks it apart into different places. Like California and parts of the West Coast are going to break up into little islands, many little islands. But that's nothing that we need to worry about right now. And then, you know, people do sometimes plug into that fear and worry about it. Here's the thing. You're going to be exactly where you need to be as aligned with your soul contracts. You came into this life and you agreed to certain paths, certain choices, and so forth. That can shift and change depending on your decisions, because we have many potential future destinies fully orchestrated for us. So if you're meant to be here for it, you're going to be here for it because you signed up for it. So why worry about it? Instead, just know in your heart and soul that you will be safe, that the universe will provide for you, your family, and loved ones. And of course, do whatever work physically, energetically, and emotionally that needs to be done. Excuse me. Something tickled my throat. Spirit reminded me today, as I remind you, that November 8th will be a very powerful day that changes the world in so many ways. We know that it's the election day in the United States, but are you also aware that it's a full moon and the second eclipse in a row? The first one's coming up on the 25th of this month. This is bound to shake up humanity, both energetically, emotionally, as well as bringing about many great earthquakes. As a quick note and a reminder of earthquakes, I feel something huge is brewing within Mother Earth's plates. And at her core, too, I feel like there's this pressure that's developing, and this massive pressure within the Earth's core that is soon going to need to be released in many different ways and in many different parts of the globe. Because the whole thing's connected, the whole planet, of course. So when that pressure is released, it's going to release through several different places. I don't know how, but I plugged into that today and I felt the energy and the pressure building up. And I feel like the eclipses, and I would say watch the Schumann resonance, because a great sun flare along with the eclipse, that would probably bring upon all these great events as far as earthquakes and maybe even a potential tsunami. Both eclipses and election in the States are on Tuesdays. So, of course, therefore, you know that you can find me here next week like you can every Tuesday. So I'm sure I'll have more details on this between now and the next 2 Tuesdays. Corrupt news network. You know that. Think of the first 3 letters, the first letter of each one of these words. Corrupt news network. Yeah, you know that? They finally got rid of that Don Lemon person. I talked about in the past, if you remember, about an inner collapse at that network occurring within the walls. And now we can actually see this perhaps happening. Another big name, according to Spirit, likely 2 more big names within their little corrupt news network, are about to get the axe as well. This won't help the network at all, for it's too late. And way too many have turned away from that network with no intentions of ever returning to it again, as they should not return to it ever again. California goes too far by punishing doctors for misinformation. What kind of BS is that, folks? Doctors will soon flee California. This is what Spirit said. Doctors are going to, everybody's fleeing California. I mean, like, we're being invaded by Californians here in Arizona. Like, invaded every other license plate's California. And, you know, that's all I'll say about that right now. But now doctors are going to flee big time because of this idiot that runs that state, just like the rest of them that run everything in this world right now, is planning to fine and punish doctors who put out information or say anything to their own patients privately. They are doctors who went to college to be a doctor, and it's private patient confidentiality, right? But, you know, if you say anything they don't like, give them, say, natural medicines, they're going to take your license away. So, I mean, you'd have to be crazy. If that goes through, you would have to be crazy to be a doctor, or very just stuck in their little web of darkness and continue practicing in the state of California. So, Biden is waging war, as directed by his puppet masters, of course, to keep in power. What's that mean exactly? Think about this, my friends. Think about this. Every president that starts a war is reelected. Yep, every president starts a war is reelected. I mean, look, Bush being the last one, that's the way it is. So Spirit said today that Biden is waging war. That's why he's making all these stupid moves. And they're going to make even stupider moves. But we have to hold the country and the whole world in the light, because that could just bring upon the biggest disaster ever in the Great War, as prophesied in some prophecies. Because that's what some of the prophecies say about the Great War and all this other awful things that bring upon the horsemen of the apocalypse. But again, the final prophecy of the natives and all the ancient prophecies is that the earth will shift and will clean up the earth. Will wash away the darkness and evil, which makes sense to the whole new earth thing. So, and I've known ever since I was a little kid that I'd be here to witness the change into the new earth nation. There was this thing I saw recently about tactical bombs being set off in and by Ukraine in order to blame Russia, supposedly, again, allegedly. Is this another flag that flies ever so falsely, like the sabotage of the pipelines under the ocean? 30 bombs were found on October 9th in the Ukraine, I mean. So it'd be interesting, you know. I don't trust any of them, so it could have came from anybody. It really doesn't matter. But remember what I said before and what Spirit said about, you know, flags flying ever so falsely with that whole thing that's going on over there. And it could make sense. Remember, Spirit did say, and I think it was last week, don't believe anything that they tell you. You know, don't believe whoever they try to blame for things, right? So we just got to be open with that. Nothing is as it appears to be. Huge change is coming in the United States government. Huge change is coming within the whole United States government. And I said this before in the past, that it's happening everywhere globally. We saw, like, look at the prime minister that was assassinated in Japan. I told you leaders would fall. Some would be assassinated. There's still assassinations yet to come, too, according to Spirit, that I just heard right now, 2 still yet to come. But these would be more prominent, like leaders in place. Likely one's going to be the leader in Iran. You know that they want so badly to take out Putin. I mean, they say it. Like, you know, our own government, United States, says, oh, well, there needs to be a regime change in Russia. So basically, they're literally saying that they want to take the guy out. And don't they sound familiar? Didn't they do that with Gaddafi? Didn't they do that with Saddam Hussein? Change of power, new regime, and put in their own people. And look at those countries now. Yeah, that's what we need. And what if somebody worse goes in? Because that would be the case. If they take somebody out, you know they're going to put somebody else worse in. So, but big changes to all powers, all the power of all countries. So again, it reminds me of those past predictions where I said leaders would drop, some from assassination, some would resign and step down. And we had that happen in UK with Boris. He stepped down not long after I said that they would start to do so. But Spirit's reminding us today that there's more to come. And these last 3 months of the year, or November month and 2.5 months, are going to be the most intense that are going to change the world forever. So we still see that in the process of potentially happening. New discoveries, speaking of things happening. I told you all about amazing new discoveries that would come, especially with the waters receding due to drought. I included that there would be major discoveries around Egypt and new pyramids. Well, off the coast of La Palma, large blocks of stone began to appear. Some say that this is ancient pyramid structure that likely could have fell from an earthquake. I mean, it kind of looks that way if you look at the video. It's kind of interesting, but big, gigantic megalithic stones. Spirit shows me that there are several pyramids on land that have yet to be discovered. Well, I'll tell you, I think I discovered one right here in Arizona. When I got to the top of that mountain, we looked down, all of us that went on that hike looked down, and it looks like a pyramid. Without a doubt, it looks very clearly like a pyramid. And you could look at it like thousands of years of it growing, and growth would make it look more like a mountain until you really look closely at it, especially from above looking down. So Spirit said there's yet some still to be discovered on land, but some of these buried pyramids are being stepped upon by humans right now. So again, that's where we were hiking. We weren't on that mound or pyramid, but we were across from it. But Spirit said today that there's literally pyramids underneath people's feet, and they don't even notice it. It's going unnoticed. There are still 2, according to Spirit, that lie upon that line around the earth where the Great Pyramid aligns, and another along that line that's beneath the sea. There's many beneath the sea, but if you know about the line where all these great ancient monolithic sites are aligned to that line around the earth, well, that's what Spirit was talking about today. Follow that line, and there's still 2 undiscovered, 1 under the ocean. There was also a discovery of the ancient city that I discussed a few weeks ago along the Tigris River. There is so much more to come, including an ancient form of transportation, according to Spirit. That's right, an ancient form of transportation. Yeah, you heard me right. This ancient form of transportation will be discovered in full tact. So I don't know, maybe it's an old car or something. I have no idea, but it's like, I guess it's definitely underground or some kind of tomb, kind of like an Egyptian tomb, because they did find the ancient boat in Egypt, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe it'll be a UFO, an ancient but more modern day way of traveling. A few news stories for y'all. We talked about some news stories, but I just wanted to bring up these few. Where I am on my notes here. Did you know you saw this, right? China's $1 trillion artificial sun fusion reactor. Did you see that? Yes. Artificial sun fusion reactor, folks. That's not good. That's sick. Why would you even need to create such a thing? Why do you need a fake sun that they say is 10 times hotter than our sun? But I don't know how that's possible, because if you watch the video of it rising up and then they light it up, if it was 10 times hotter than the sun, it would have fried all those people, I would think. Maybe they don't full power. I don't know. I didn't think there were power outages trying to power this damn thing up. Not good, my friends. They say that this is what destroyed ancient Atlantis and Lemuria. To same place. Atlantis was on one side. Lemuria, like North America, South America. You got Lemuria, and then you have Atlantis. And Atlantis was supposedly, allegedly, or supposedly the ones that created the same fusion reactor that destroyed their planet. I don't believe that's true. I don't feel like that doesn't like vibe with me. But I'm just putting out what they say. Speaking of what they say, did you know that the Mississippi River? Did you see the low water that's happening there that's preventing barges from getting through? Do you remember I said that there would be a point where boats, because of water levels, won't be able to travel, and it would prevent goods from getting to us, including maybe even the Panama Canal, for example, which would in turn screw up shipping of goods and such. Well, it's happening in Mississippi. Apparently, along the Mississippi River, barges can't get through. Did you know on the ancient maps that were done by the Hopi people, there's maps of the future Earth. These maps were also done again by the sleeping prophet Edgar Cayce, and these maps were also drawn by the United States Navy. And if you line up all these maps together, they're pretty damn close to each other. They're not all exactly the same, but they're pretty damn close. And those maps that were channeled through from the natives and from Edgar Cayce show that the Mississippi River is actually split apart. It was where America splits apart into two continents, two separate little continents. So, but it's drying up right now. So it doesn't mean it's splitting. People think an earthquake's going to split the United States apart, but it looks like it's drying up water could be part of it. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't work out that way. But also, who would have ever thought that there'd be tornado warnings in Arizona, right? Right here where I am. I'm in a canyon, so hopefully the canyon, and I live at the bottom of a canyon, so hopefully that, like, a tornado came and would be broken up by the canyon. But tornado warnings all the way out there in Phoenix and such. Remember I said that there'd be tornadoes that would occur in places that they never occur and never have before. Well, this is just a little taste of that. I don't know if there were any tornadoes that touched down in Arizona, but there definitely was. Buffering. It could be your computer and not mine, just so you know. Researchers at Boston University say they had developed a new bug strain that has an 80% kill rate. I thought it was actually, that's what I copied and pasted, but I thought it was actually one of those, poking things in your arm kind of thing. The V. I thought it was that they developed. But whatever it is that they developed, they fed it to rats and 80% of them died. What the hell are they doing that for? Why are they even telling us that they're doing that? A little weird, isn't it? I think it's a little weird. It kills mice. Chances are it'll kill us too, my friends. But yeah, oh Lord, that's what I said too. Oh Lord. Just goes to show. Let's talk about the eclipse energy for a minute, because on Sunday, did you know on Sunday the Stromboli volcano erupted, causing many small tsunamis to occur? Remember my spirit guide's warning about volcanic eruptions in Italy and Greece, along with small tsunamis leading to eventually a very large tsunami? Well, there goes a bunch of small tsunamis. So we are definitely closing in on this event. If not during the coming eclipse cycles that are heading our way, then definitely, most definitely in January, when we're in the first energy shift retrograde of the year in 2023, January. As you know, we have our annual eclipse coming up next week on October 25th, the new moon. This, along with astrological alignments and sun flare activities between the 25th of October and November 8th's full moon, is bound to bring in the strongest energy so far for the year 2022. Hold on tight, my friends, for the earth will shake in so many places, including new and rare places where quakes don't normally happen. This energy will also unleash a series of great storms globally, starting with the United States. Spirit sends a beware to the people of the southern states. I see great winds, heavy rains, and even black ice in some areas of the South. So this is going to unleash a series of serious tornadoes. One comes close to nailing a fairly large city. It appears to me that this tornado was right on the edge of a small city. I had visions of tornadoes over the water, and I had visions of water spouts. This was all today. And it reminds me of, remember I said maybe about a year ago, I'm not sure, or maybe it was this year actually, one of the weather predictions I did earlier this year, that there would be a biggest tornado ever, like this big thing. I don't remember the details. I just remember that part of me saying that. Well, that pops in my mind now. So hopefully that's not approaching us, but it does pop in my mind now. In several places globally, Spirit says that fish and other odd things will rain upon the people once more. That's right. Fish and other odd things will rain upon the people once more. So being that Spirit said to me once more, I would take this as it going to occur in a place that it had occurred in the past. But we'll have to see. Fish falling from the sky, that would just be freaky, right? But it has happened. Spirit is coming soon to a town near you. The coming eclipses and other cycles are going to increase our chances for accidents and incidents as well. So I urge you all to be careful. Do not take any risks that can bring upon injury. So that means no bungee jumping, no walking on a tightrope. As long as you don't do that, you'll be fine. But that's the energies coming in. Accident prone, making people accident prone. This will have some type of an impact on transportation and electronics as well, according to my spirit guides, which makes me wonder if that huge solar flare that Spirit warned us about that was going to be coming could be approaching during these eclipse cycles. Just a thought that I had earlier today. But therefore, with Spirit's clarity, there will likely be several large transportation type incidents and accidents, like my previously predicted multiple plane crashes. Spirit shows me a rail line and something rather huge happening around trains and train transport. One incident feels like a sabotage, this time of railroad tracks being blocked in some way, or maybe blown up. I don't know. A large derailment of goods being shipped while a subway train experiences a large accident. All these things combined. I believe that there will be three important events to watch around the railroads and subway systems, both in the United States, but also including Russia and globally, really. The three of them coming up during the cycle, I would believe. This energy, along with the coming severe weather, will unleash a small flu pandemic, so to speak. Not a pandemic, but more of like a serious flu season is more like not that's a better way of saying it. That will likely take out, sadly, more people's lives this year than any previous year. Not relating it to the bug 2020, but the flu by itself. By early 2023, they will instill fear into the people by bringing worry and concern to a new type of flu or virus or bug. Spirit says one of the mutated type. Again, I'll read that to you one more time. If I can get back there. So again, Spirit said that they will instill fear in people by bringing worry and concern to a new type of flu or virus or bug. Spirit says one of the mutated type. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Be safe. Wash your hands. Only take vitamins when you're exposed to people or germs. If you take them every day, you're building an immune system. Just eat healthy. And then when you're exposed to people or around somebody that might have a bug, make sure you take some vitamins or whatever you do for your system. Everybody's different. But remember, my friends, more than anything, a new earth is upon us. And we will arrive to that new earth sooner than one would think or even hope. We all know, especially the mothers out there, that the birthing process is never fun and it's never easy. But the beauty that comes after that painful birth is well worth the struggle and the pain. Something to look forward to for our future generations, so that one day they could look back and actually thank us for the struggles that led to their amazing, abundant, joyful future. They get to celebrate each and every day. That means a lot. Remember to love one another. Be kind to others as you wish others to be kind to you. Because we all know mean people suck. Spiritman JT signing off on this 37th episode of Tea Time. Stay tuned. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Thank you for your chat, cash, love, and support. And anybody that sent that through PayPal. I'm not getting any emails right now. Website's down, but I will be back soon with a preview to 2023 and what to expect, along with a bunch of other content and material that I plan to knock out in the near future. Many blessings to all of you. I love you lots. Be in love, my friends. Have a great rest of your day. Namaste. Spiritman signing off. Much love.